And with this, I bring you 40 days of reminders that the Middle East is not real. It is quite literally a term that was created to dehumanize people, specifically racialize people, specifically, unspecifically, no one, because it is not real. It can't be found on a map. Categorically, people change. They don't belong to a certain country. They don't belong to a certain ethnic group. They don't belong to a certain religion. They don't even belong to the same continent or same group of people. And it's quite literally founded on a racist ideology. And I wanted to highlight this comment with that. And I wanted to talk about this particular last sentence. You get so dehumanized, you just accept things. After the events of September 11th, I had already been subjected so much violence and discrimination. And honestly, I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Because cue the Islamophobia, cue the anti-blackness, cue the general discrimination and racism. I couldn't identify which one it is because it was all of it. It was all of it. It was so vague and ambiguous. And I had just accepted, after years and years and years of being physically and symbolically beaten down and psychologically beaten down, I had just accepted my own level of dehumanization to an extent that I would make jokes along with my best friend who happened to be Lebanese. We would make jokes about the whole situation. And they often fell into that narrative of Orientalism, I guess. Cue other things too, because my friend wasn't even Muslim. My friend came from a Christian family. I came from a Muslim family, but there wasn't really anything like visibly Muslim about me. I would just say I was visibly North African. And that level of just acceptance and normalization of our own dehumanization, like I think of it now as someone in my 40s. And I think of the grooming that we are subjected to as racialized bodies, stolen racialized bodies on stolen land, of what we have to systemically be subjected to get to the point of being willing to accept such dehumanization and degradation. To a point where we could make fun of our own racial profiling and systemic abuse. And I cannot imagine a scenario where I would ever teach or allow my own children to accept that level of dehumanization or to see themselves through the lens of that dehumanization as well. All this to say, the Middle East is not real, but the violence that term, the legacy of that term inflicts upon so many people. And the funny thing is it's non-exclusionary. Like one day one country fits in there, the other day the country no longer fits in there. It just really makes you think of how abusive the system is how groomed we are to normalize it, and how willing we are collectively to victim blame. And the more I think about the term and the groupings, even of like the term SWANA, like stop. We need to stop normalizing all of it. We need to stop normalizing any of it. And we need to radically look at things and start drawing our own lines of what we're willing to tolerate. Because it does take our complicity and our participation. Thank you, Nami, for pointing that out. If you don't already follow Nami, Nami has a really, really important message to share about a whole other category of discrimination that immigrants to Canada, more often than not women, but men also, can be subjected to, and the harmful effects that it has. And it's so important to be aware of these things.